Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome with me here today at the inaugural 6 Sense Demo Day, live from Tobacco Docks in London. And it's great to be here because, you know, this was a derelict part of London for many years. It was the Victorian home of import, export. This is where things sort of were sent around the world. Today, you are on the doorstep of the buzzing heart of London's technology scene. A global technology powerhouse, $25 billion worth of investment in tech firms raised here in the city just in the last year. It makes it the perfect place to host a competitive pitch with high potential firms from around the world. Now, I'm Michael Heyman. I'm co-founder of a firm called Seven Hills, and I present a podcast called Changemakers, which looks at, I guess, the contrarians that have the ambition to change the world. And I think we're going to hear from those sorts of characters today because 6 Sense is the new open innovation platform. It's been enabled by Hexagon, bringing scaling startups together with some of the world's biggest companies to turn real-world problems into transformative solutions. Now, I mentioned Changemakers, and Milan Kosic, who we're going to hear from momentarily, he's the head of 6 Sense. He said that startups have the ideas, the innovation, and the drive to disrupt that larger companies find it hard to come by. And I think if you're looking at the magic of 6 Sense, it's about bringing those sort of disruptive startup players with a major global company. And it's why Hexagon, which is at the heart of manufacturing many of the products that we use every day, has created this new ecosystem to engage with young innovators, pushing the boundaries of design, manufacturing, and engineering. And through this collaboration and infrastructure, these startups are going to be given the tool to scale their ideas to global impact. So today is about 7 incredible companies working at the forefront of AI and machine learning and software and data innovation. They come from Spain, Germany, the US, Canada, and Brazil. And they are businesses that, you know, 6 Sense is about the premonition, that ability to see round corners, to have a glimpse of the future. That's what these businesses are that you're going to hear from today. They were selected at a pitch day in March, and they've since been participating in an innovative on-the-job scaling program. They've been supported by coaching, funding, best practice examples. And you know what? I was thinking about this just a moment ago. Most US presidents get 100 days before they're judged. Well, these businesses got 70 days before they actually had to reveal their business vision. And the progress that they've made, I think that all of our advisory panel, who we'll hear from a little bit later, will attest to, has been utterly remarkable. They have examined their product, their purpose, their profile, to get to know the potential of their business and how they scale it from here. Now, this comes at a time when I think everybody might agree that business needs to show its quality. The idea of business as a force for good can't just be a stump speech. It has to be a reality as we drive global economic recovery, as we address issues like sustainability, as we respond to increased digitization of our world. So, you know what? Mark Zuckerberg once called on tech to move fast and break things. I think the companies that we're going to hear from this afternoon are those that have moved fast and fixed things. And I think they're going to deliver, no doubt, real-world solutions for real-world problems. Now, you're going to hear from startups with solutions that are going to showcase their work to our advisory panel of industry experts. And that's going to culminate later on in a winning concept being chosen. And you know, you may well ask, well, why have these companies put so much into this? Well, I think every single one of them, and I spoke to them all earlier, they want to win this because though that chosen company is going to be provided with increased resources to a scale globally, that might mean funding, worldwide office space, exposure to customer bases, products, and incorporation into Hexagon's ecosystem. They're all up for grabs here today. Now, here are the rules of the game. Each startup gets 6 minutes, not a second over that. That's their opportunity to pitch their concept both to our audience here in London and to our audience around the world, to which we say a very warm welcome to London here this afternoon. They're going to have their opportunity to be grilled by our advisory panel, who are an esteemed group of investors, experts, and entrepreneurs. They're going to have 3 minutes, 180 seconds to actually put them through their paces, 2 questions each. Everyone can get involved on the day too. On screen, you'll see a Q&A function, which will give you the opportunity to put your questions to Hexagon's tech and manufacturing experts, and also get involved in the conversation online at MI_6_cents, and also hashtag 6cents demo day. And do get involved and share your thoughts. Not only, I suppose, with the companies we're going to hear, but about the issues that they raise in terms of the challenges that they've sought to address. We're going to be hearing very shortly from our advisory panel on what they expect from the day and what they're looking for in the pitches. Following that, we'll also be joined later by the self-described reluctant futurist, Mark Stevenson. He's going to take a dive into the intertwined questions the future is asking us and the role of technology in addressing them. He's an absolutely super speaker, and he'll be speaking while the judges are deliberating on what they've heard. The advisory panel will be thinking about today. All that remains for me to say now is to really enjoy it. I know there's been a lot of people who put a lot of time into this. It's my pleasure to introduce our first 2 speakers. We're going to hear from Parth Joshi in a minute, who's got a video for us, and then we'll be welcoming Milan Kosic, who is the head of 6cents, to tell us more and about why we're all here. So a round of applause for everybody enjoyed. Okay, let's play the movie.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, both virtual and in-person attendees. Welcome to our first ever demo day at 6cents. I'm Parth Joshi, the Chief Product and Technology Officer for Hexagon's Manufacturing Intelligence Division. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend this exciting event in person today, but I've been excited about this whole journey over the last few months of 6cents, along with watching it virtually through the presentations today. At Hexagon, we started this journey for 6cents just 4 months ago, and we've come a long way. We've moved quickly to work with the startup community, which led to an overwhelming response and interest from over 120 different startups within our first few weeks of kicking off the 6cents initiative. Out of that, the team was really able to pick 13 different startups for our first initial pitches that took place in early March. These were all super exciting and very passionate. And today, out of those, we will have the final 7 companies that were selected as winners present to you their ideas, their hopes, and plans, possibly for a fit with Hexagon that would allow them to scale their business in the future also. All of us have been excited to hear and to let you hear what they've been up to. The 6cents team has been working very hard to find out more about each of these startups' technologies, companies, and then jointly develop a roadmap for deployment within Hexagon's ecosystem and beyond. You'll hear within a few minutes where this has taken each of them. In my role at Hexagon, I'm really looking forward to understanding today the innovation provided by this cohort of startups and how we can together bring solutions to the market faster, specifically for our customers' request by accelerating the delivery of our own products and services for them. I really want us to see and continue to maintain Hexagon as a manufacturing industry technology leader, and we'll only be able to do so with startups like these in cohort 1. As you've seen, we believe in an autonomous future and will likely need the partnership and curiosity of these startups to deliver to our customers. Collaboration is going to be the key ingredient that will help us to deliver our vision. I've been following the work closely executed by the 6cents team and have looked at strategic fits between the opportunities of this first cohort, and really looking forward to show you some of the exciting things that we plan to unveil at Hexagon Live this year in June, in 30 days. So hopefully all of you can attend this premier customer engagement event in June also. For now, please enjoy these 7 pitches coming your way. Our cohort 1 of startups have been working hard on them, and I'm sure they will show us the exciting possibilities that we have ahead of us. Thanks for joining, and I'm really looking forward to the exciting presentations that these teams have worked hard on. Thank you.
Now, thank you, Parth, for that. Now, I was just thinking while he was speaking, is that I once interviewed a really interesting entrepreneur who said that every startup is a hypothesis based on a bet. So it's an idea based on the guts to go for it. Now, I think it's fair to say is that 6 Sense is its own startup within a large company, because a year ago, it was just an idea. And our next speaker is the person that's driven it to fruition. He's the head of 6 Sense. Please do welcome Milan Kosic.
This is unusual for me. I have notes, so just want to let everybody know. Thank you. By the way, Parth was great. Parth had Legos in the back, if anybody noticed. So he's doing his own startup that we're going to learn about soon. But that's why we use Legos for everything. But anyway, Michael mentioned my name, but there's 3 individuals in this room somewhere that also deserve mention. So Richard Heggie, where is he? You don't have to take a camera, but he's over there. Zubeida Al-Hashemi's over in the back. And Oliver Parshat, all the way in the left. So, all the fame goes to them, so I don't need any of the stuff. But anyways, we started this because in our manufacturing intelligence division, we want to kind of believe about the magic of manufacturing. I think we started kind of stumble on this thing that a lot of people out there don't necessarily understand. I think a lot of people in the public tend to think of manufacturing as Charlie Chaplin in modern times, in 1930s, kind of twisting things. And I think if you look at recent example of the magic is James Webb Telescope, for example. Somebody designed it and simulated it. Somebody actually built it. Somebody checked the quality of it. And then it was folded into this tiny cube, put on this rocket, shot 1 million miles in space, and then it unfolded without any error. That takes work of a lot of people, a lot of ingenuity, a lot of innovation. And I don't think we tend to glorify that beyond the circles that we tend to live in, which is, I think, makes the startups that do this very special, because they do very specific things that help some of those things actually happen. While it's all cool about space, they also help some of the stuff on Earth, which is kind of where we look at. And I'm a big believer that the next big thing is a lot of little things. So they're the little things that we tend to work with that help us, hopefully, in the long run, fix the bigger things. The other part is that what I've noticed over the last 8 weeks is kind of, we became a small family in a certain way. Like, I would like everybody to win because I don't want to disappoint anybody. But we also learned from the startups. You know, we in the larger corporations sometimes lose a little bit of a spirit of innovation ourselves. And I think working with all the startups in our cohort brings that back a little bit. And the idea is to also pass it throughout the organization so that we can all jointly figure out where this all goes. So I don't have much more than that to say, which is I just want to thank everybody for being patient with our little team. And, you know, kick ass when you guys do your presentations. That's all I can say. So, thank you.
Just stay here. That's right. Kick ass. Absolutely right. The right advice. I think that's what you need in a good pitch. Right. Now, I'm also going to just introduce our advisory panel and ask them to come up in one group. But we have Dr. Ben Farmer, who is the Made Smarter Innovation Deputy Challenge Director for Innovate UK. Elaine Warburton, OBE, who's an entrepreneur and investor, who is a founder and non-executive director. Mark Bryant, who's the head of manufacturing for BGF, which is the UK and Ireland's most active investor in growth companies. And Drew Rogers, who's the senior director for corporate development and M&A with Hexagon Manufacturing Intelligence. Do come on stage, guys, and have a big round of applause as well. Right. Now, let's make the most of... So, you've got the job this afternoon. And I wondered, first of all, whether you can pitch your own experience for us to hear what you do and sort of the organizations that you're from. why don't we go, Ben, with you first to sort of tell us a little bit about the business and the work that you do.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ben Farmer. I lead or co-lead a industrial strategy challenge fund challenge called Make Smarter Innovations. It's a £300 million program of 5 years to develop novel industrial digital technologies and see their novel application in industry. Objectives are for producing, obviously, economic activity with jobs, but also sustainability goals, so cutting carbon dioxide and waste emissions.
Quick word on Innovate UK. What does it do?
Innovate UK is the UK's innovation agency. It's a non-departmental government body that funds industrial research and collaboration between academics and industry in the UK.
Now, Elaine, you are either poacher turned gamekeeper or gamekeeper turned poacher. You've done both investing and being invested in as an entrepreneur and investor. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks a lot. So I'm interested in bugs. I love viruses, pathogens, and I wanted to cure cancer. So over the years, I've been running hospitals and getting involved in a number of startups. My two favorite ones are Quantum DX, where we've miniaturized an entire laboratory, put it into a little box, basically taken the code of live DNA and converted into binary code. The results go up into the cloud, and you can diagnose disease early. And now my second company that I'm working on right now, ReadyGo Diagnostics, we're basically putting that into a little pen and disrupting lateral flow tests so that when the next pandemic comes along, we'll actually have proper diagnostics in the supermarkets.
Whoa, brilliant. What a great story. Now, I think somebody was going to give you a round of applause. Why not? Go for it.
Thank you.
And by the way, that's what entrepreneurs do, right? They see the world's problems and turn them into solutions. Mark, you're investing in those solutions. You've got manufacturing as the day job. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Bryant. So I'm head of manufacturing at BGF. I was part of the leadership that set BGF up 11 years ago. We were brought into being to recreate patient growth capital in the UK and now Ireland. And for me, it's a real privilege. So I meet probably 40 to 50 manufacturing companies a year. Last year, we invested in 70 companies. We've matured to the point where we've exited about 38 of our investments. And I have the privilege, as I say, looking at manufacturing businesses. So half my life is new opportunities, looking at pitches today. The other half of my life is working with the portfolio companies to try and add value where I can. But I'm very proud of what we've achieved in a relatively short period. So we're like 6 cents a startup.
Thank you very much, Mark. Welcome. Now, Drew, welcome to you as well. Give us give us the day job.
So I head up corporate development and M&A in the manufacturing intelligence division. So I suppose I'm here with a checkbook, maybe. But yeah, no, I've been investing.
Biggest man at the bar.
But I've been investing since I left university. So I'm very excited to be here and see some disruptive technologies in play.
Brilliant. Now, we've got about 10 minutes to talk a little bit about what you're expecting this afternoon. And I suppose it's kind of whatever you watch, whether it's Shark Tank or Dragon's Den or The Apprentice or whatever, we all know the theory that you pitch your ideas and you've got some tough judges who are going to put you through your paces. Elaine, what are you looking for this afternoon?
First of all, passion, but understanding your business in the first couple of slides, the first 30 seconds. I kind of don't really know about some of your industries. I've done checkups on websites. First 30 seconds, wow me, and be passionate about it. I want to know that you love your baby, because that means that I'd like to propose to investment.
30 seconds, love your baby. Mark, tell us something.
So in a similar way, clear articulation what you do, but please avoid jargon. What do you actually do? What do you actually provide? Why is it useful? Who's going to use it? Why are they going to pay money for it? So for me, the more jargon that gets thrown at me, it almost feels like you don't really understand what you're doing. So clear articulation about what you provide, where you're hoping to go.
Milan, a tough job for you, because I guess these guys are coming to it with relatively sort of objective mindsets. How does somebody who's been on the program over these last 70 days with these companies start to make these sorts of choices?
Well, I just have to pretend I don't know anybody, right? So, and I haven't done anything with them. So, I mean, we've had this journey where we've helped them try to get to the 2 points that have brought up, which is try to be on point and specific, and we're going to listen, how well are they doing that today. So.
Ben, secrets of a great pitch.
I want to see credibility. credibility, you understand your products, you understand your market, and how those two things fit together is a key thing for me.
So make it real.
Yeah, I mean, and to be confident that the founding team can execute on it.
Drew, you're the man with the checkbook. What's going to make you sign?
Scalable business model. That's it.
Scalable business model.
Yeah.
But how do they demonstrate that to you in this 6-minute pitch? What do you want them to be saying?
I think just a very, very clear view on financials and a clear business need. So assess providing an answer to a clear business need.
I want to sort of ask you a question, not as well as our advisory panel this afternoon. I want to ask you a question as investors and entrepreneurs in your own right that advise a lot of companies and have seen a lot of companies grow through a lot of the kind of start to scale growth journeys that these companies are on. In terms of the advice that you would give, or indeed the advice that maybe you wish you'd had, what's a tip you'd give to these businesses as they approach this next chapter? Drew, let's go back to you.
Oh, crikey. Look, I mean, I think it's, always be open to advice. I think that's the key bit. But also, just be extremely passionate and follow that passion. So don't give up on it when there's big blocks in the road.
Mark, I mean, you're sat with the day job. You're having lots of companies that pitch. Presumably, you don't invest in all of them. What's the thing that you sort of pull out in terms of those that you want to go with and those that you think not for us?
So overridingly, it's quality of the management team. And for me, it's the quality. I'd say entrepreneurs can be extroverts and introverts, but for me, they're always optimists. And there's a real danger that they desperately want to believe what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's absolutely be real, keep it real. Self-awareness as you scale the business. Are you a leader or are you a specialist? What is your real skill set as an individual and what does the business need? And therefore, will you listen? Will you respond? So for us, we cannot invest with someone who won't listen to us, can't respond to us, and doesn't have that kind of awareness.
Elaine, if you identify yourself as a scientist, a technologist, an engineer, first and foremost, how do you put entrepreneur on the CV, do you think?
Oh, gosh. You got me, because I was just thinking another thing about, can I ask a different question?
Follow me.
Very quick. I think know your customer. If you're scaling, you ought to know what your customer needs so you can actually position it. Otherwise, you'll either end up being a minnow if you don't know your customer's need, or a great white shark and a Zuckerberg.
But being an entrepreneur. Were you born an entrepreneur?
I was born an entrepreneur. I've often asked this, actually lectured on this. You're born an entrepreneur. I don't think you can actually make yourself an entrepreneur by reading books. It's inherent in you from a little baby.
Ben, so what about the 10,000 hours of practice? I'm just thinking, that they said about the 10,000 hours on a violin and you can become a master. Is it your experience in innovation circles that actually you can get innovators to be great entrepreneurs as well?
Well, I think if you look at the merits of the aspects of a good entrepreneur, many of those aspects are the same as someone who'll do very well in a corporate environment. So I think it's difficult to tease those apart. It really is down to the individual. And I think I think listening is such a key part of you. That's come up a lot. You listen to every single piece of advice you can get your hands on, but also have confidence in your own convictions, because what you're doing is probably quite hard and probably quite unique as well. And because it's unique, other people aren't doing it. And so only you really know how this is going to happen. So listen to all the advice, but also take it on board and then go
follow
your way.
Follow your gut
Gut
instinct.
feel is a big one.
Gut instinct.
Yeah.
Everybody's nodding. Milan, you've worked with all of our 7 businesses today. I mean, gut instinct, is that being followed? Are we going to meet entrepreneurs alongside innovators, scientists, engineers, and technologists?
I think you'll meet all of those. And on that note, I think to follow the panel, my kind of rule is 2 things, which is don't BS, because people can smell it from a mile away. So just be honest about what you're trying to do. And be a nice person, because we ultimately have to work with you. I'm no a-holes, because it doesn't work in the long run, because if you're going to build longer relationships, this doesn't work. So
I'm just thinking how this is all playing out on Twitter. No, anyway.
So to me, it's I think authenticity. I think it was kind of the general theme. You have to be authentic and you have to be who you are. Otherwise, people will see through that.
I guess the other thing about this afternoon is we're going to hear from some very, very smart companies that are looking to break through in lots of areas that are within the manufacturing process. When you look at the innovation landscape in manufacturing, how exciting is it? What would you say in terms of, you're looking at a lot of companies, but let's talk about the innovation flame. Is it alive and well in manufacturing? Mark,
Sorry,
sorry.
I'm amazed at how fragmented and siloed it is. So the big corporates adopt everything. They'll do Lean and Six Sigma and step through it. But when you look at the flow through to the supply chain, tier ones maybe do some good practice. Tier 2, tier 3, it's just broken away. So it amazes me the discrepancy of adoption of technology and the way it doesn't flow through, even if you've got automotive or aerospace where you've got mature supply chains, it just doesn't flow through, it's not connected. And even the holistic supply chain, I think, is really powerful and it's still not fully tapped into.
Ben, we heard a little bit earlier about this kind of autonomous, sustainable future. That's the future that is being innovated right now. In terms of how match fit and ready manufacturing is as a process and a space in the economy, how do you rate it?
I think it's getting its act together really quickly. In our advisory group, we've seen the corporate statements of the organisations that represent all sorts of different shapes and sizes of different industries change their position over the last year. So sustainability is becoming a really important driver. How they are going to do that is still a very big question. Some are really kind of focused on understanding how the route they're going to take. Others are less sure. But it's happening, and digital is a really, really key part to that, and particularly AI. There's a general route you can take towards digitalization, which is also a route towards industrial sustainability. So being really efficient with your resources, so energy and materials.
The thing I was thinking about, Elaine, when you were speaking, was that in the early days of COVID, it became quite clear that it wasn't just going to be a medical response. It was going to be a technologist response that was going to split genomes and create solutions. It was going to be an innovator's response. Do you think is there a pandemic dividend, do you think, in terms of what we might get out of this, in terms of the innovation landscape?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, no one knew what a PCR test was or a lateral flow test. Furthermore, the US government, UK government, all governments now are changing the way they look at pandemic preparedness and trying to sovereignize it, for want of a better expression. So they're looking at manufacturing, how to do extreme volume manufacturing for the next pandemic, and sure as hell it's going to come along. And this is a wonderful time to innovate the manufacturing process in order to achieve extreme volume manufacturing. Just for example, the numbers we're talking about is 16 million tests a day, times that up by 365 days a year in order just to supply each US citizen with one test. Then you look at the whole of the world, and that's what all governments are trying to succeed in, so we don't have to go to China. Bless them, they did very well. But we want to have sovereign manufacturing.
Sovereign manufacturing. Drew, I'm just sort of wondering, you're bringing this kind of scale-up lifeblood into the business, these businesses that are coming and working with you. How does that change Hexagon? I mean, it changes, no doubt you're changing the lives of companies, but is there a symbiosis to that? Does it flow that actually you change culturally and any sense of where that might take you?
Well, yeah, I think that's really the hope, is, there's going to bring this big sort of, I guess, DNA change of, innovation into the organization and bring new ideas into the organization as well. So that will have an effect on the culture across the whole business, hopefully.
Milan, last point to you. We've got about a minute. 6 Sense, where's it going to go?
We're going to blow up in the world. No, I'm just, I think the idea is to continue doing what we started doing, which is find more innovating startups that will help us kind of change our DNA, as Drew pointed out. And I think, just to make a little note on innovation in a manufacturing space, I do have to say that there's a lot of consumer innovation that's now influencing a lot of industrial innovation, which is how you do things, how you experience life, is pushing into the other parts of the world, and so there's no choice. So. Right, well, I can tell you as the MC, you have totally qualified yourselves as brilliant advisory panel members for this afternoon. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers. Right, so there we have it.
Oh, we're running on time. Isn't that marvelous? So without it's 3:30 here at Greenwich Mean Time, wherever you are in the world. This is the starting point for our pitches. We're going to hear from our superb businesses. They're going to be given 6 minutes in length to tell you their story. It's going to be followed by a 3-minute Q&A. First up, we're going to hear from Icon Pro, which is a German-based startup launched in 2018, which offers software-based solutions to increase quality and productivity in production. We're going to hear from Martin first. Welcome, Martin.
Right. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me. Martin Peterek, as it was on the screen. So I would say I'm an engineer by education, and hopefully I am an entrepreneur by heart, because in 2018 we founded out Icon Pro as a spin-off from the Aachen University. We are nowadays 30 people, fastly growing, and I'm very delighted to present how we think that the future of manufacturing may look like, and our solutions may boost this transformation into digitalization as we have just heard it. I would like to... It's not on. Cannot flip it. Okay, normally I would start with a very actual reference, so there it goes, perfectly. So right at the same time that we are here, the World Economic Forum is taking place in Davos, and they are debating on the future of manufacturing. And there's a very brilliant white paper just occurred recently, and yeah, it nails it down what Icon Pro is also all about. So really leveraging data, and not only data from one process, but data at scale, so across the complete company, across the supply chain. And if you are able as a company to do so, then there are some key benefits that you can take away. So increased productivity and higher quality. So if you are able to really do better, more efficient processes, then on the other hand, you will also reduce the environmental impact. And I think this is very precise what I will try to focus on as well. So just a short recap. When we had this pitch some month ago, I started with this drawing. So planning production like you plan your trips, for example. Gathering all the information, fuse it in a model, and then really get the precise information when you will reach your destination. But when it comes to manufacturing data, then there is some specialty if you want to form this map. It's all about manufacturing data and information. So you really have to be aware that this is a very special kind of data. And if you want to extract the information, you have to deal with it. It's highly heterogeneous, coming from different sensors. It's highly unstructured, not the same format. It's highly unsynchronized, different frequency, also missing values. And it's highly context related. And the last point, is context related, is why bigger companies such as Amazon and Microsoft are having a big hurdle to really implement a solution that is fitting it all. Because you have to be really an expert in this field of this domain expertise in this field of production to really interpret it in the right way. And this is why only 70% of the companies really using their data in a proper way. But once you understood this, then it might be very easy. And this is where Icon Pro is also already focusing on since the beginning. So we try to build up algorithms that are able to extract this information right from the beginning. And then once you have done it like this, structured it like this, then you can apply machine learning, AI, open libraries. And this is what we have been doing. And we want to really add on a value for the customer by just using the same data that he or she is already using and getting the information in a way back that he's already knowing it like. So when the outcome of our model is going to the customer, then he can apply it in any dashboard or any infrastructure that he already knows. So to keep it as simple as possible for the customer to use it. Just one detailed view. Machine shop excellence is a very big topic, and unplanned downtime to any machine tool, for example, or some production system is a very, very high issue in industry. And Icon Pro, we are able to really analyze these data, historical and actual data, to predict when this machine tool will be down the next time, to make it plannable and then also avoidable. And we can also just have a look on the process and see when will this process running out of spec and what has to be done there. As it is demo day with Hexagon, I want to have a closer look on an example that we just worked on in the recent weeks, and we were very successful with that. So we have this customer based in Munich, and they are building electrical vehicles, also combustion engine, but electrical vehicles. And they are building up new lines, and they are already using a product out of the Hexagon portfolio, the MRQ board, visualizing quality data from all over the complete plants at BMW. But they can only have a look back, so what was it looking like yesterday or today, but not into the future. And we, together with then Hexagon, really worked hard on this to implement this AI engine, this intelligence, this Icon Pro intelligence into this. And now the customer is able to just click on the button, and then he has this added value coming from the AI based on the data that's already there. So there's already a product in use, and then there's this add-on Icon Pro can give here. And we reduced ramp-up time for this line by 33%, and reducing ramp-up time really means to reduce also waste and resources and the consumption of resources. And we reduced inspection costs at the same time by 15%, which really means a large amount of money that can be saved. Now, just a closer look on how the future may look like. So this is just a diagram, and Icon Pro might be here. So focusing on one process, and we can derive actionable insights here. We can predict the outcomes as we have seen it, and we have already some customers that are trusting in us, and we are bootstrapped, but we are already on a good path. But the really, let's say, thing that we have to change here is a more closely cooperation with Hexagon, because then we can have this cross-process, this cross-chain availability of data, and this will mean really the large possibility of having a better scale-up. And there was this talk about supply chain, and it's all about supply chain. So not only looking on one process, but on different ones, and be able to analyze it and really driving the future of manufacturing. Thanks a lot.
How do you find that?
Sorry.
Easy?
Yeah, was right in time, so yeah.
Bang on time. Right, there we have it. Milan and Elaine, you're going to ask our first two questions. We've got 3 minutes. Milan, we'll start with you.
I'm sure you get this asked a lot, which is there's many AI companies, there's many machine learning companies. So what is the thing that you do that other people don't do?
So as I said, with this example from Microsoft and Amazon, of course, it's not just the next AI thing, because there are a lot, thousands and even more. And it's really about this special structure of manufacturing data. This is the big hurdle. So you really have to understand this and derive the information in a correct way. You have to be, in this context relation, you have to be very careful to not cut off too many information, because then you will never get it back. But you have to, at least define some outliers, gaps and stuff within the data. And you have to be very careful on this. And we worked, I think, 1.5 years only on the algorithm that is able to analyze the raw data in this way that we then can process this with any library that you can find. So it's really on the data, understanding the data and leveraging the data more than on the AI thing. AI is also within the product, it's also within the software, but it's mainly about really getting the information out of the
Elaine.
Yes, thank you very much. I really enjoyed your pitch, and I also really enjoyed, I went onto your website and also looked on your YouTube as well. That would help clarify an awful lot as well. Looking at competitors, I see that you've got quite a few big giants like IBM, PwC, AWS, and this BrainCube as well. How do you see yourself going up against them? Because they've got a fair share of the market right now.
Absolutely.
How are you going to chip away at that?
Yeah. This is one of the main things that we have to figure out also in the future, and the big chance is to cooperate with a big partner like Hexagon there, because there is this power, this platform behind where you have all the data available, and then you can really put in our software, our intelligence. If you really compare to the big tech clouds, I think we are much more flexible by how so integrating our solution. We can be held on premise and in cloud, so we are not stuck to cloud, but we can also derive it directly on premise, which is still a big issue. Perhaps not in the future, but right now it's still a big issue. And I think we have to really use this cooperation to have a better standing and a better impact on this, yeah. But the main hurdle is not the big tech. The main hurdle is really inside the companies doing nothing, just staying like this or doing it on their own. This is mainly the issue that we have to overcome, to see, okay, if you invest into a data science team, for example, especially now where you have the shortage in very skilled workforce, this is still the main gap that we have to overcome, to build trust that there's already a solution in place that you can easily use. And also there, the cooperation with Hexagon will help us a lot.
Martin, thank you very much. It's been like watching a James Bond movie up here because we're watching the clock count down.
Yeah, it is always in its red.
You've used every second. Thank you very much.
It's turning red, then it's, yeah.
Thank you for sharing the story of Icon Pro. Well done. Well done. Well, I think Martin set a high bar there, and we're going to move straight on to our second pitch before we're going to take a 10-minute break. But in introducing our next business, we're going to be joined by SmartUQ, which is a premier supplier of machine learning software optimally designed for science and engineering applications. It's based in the US. It was founded in 2014. Please do welcome Gavin. All yours, Gavin.
Hi, I'm Gavin Jones with SmartUQ. I'm here today on behalf of our founder and CEO, Peter Chen. Regrettably, he was unable to attend due to some commitments with closing some funding rounds. So uncertainty in design and manufacturing leads to poor quality products and processes, and those have very costly outcomes. This can include poor yields, increased scrap, product recalls, higher energy costs, and in the worst cases, you could have potentially deadly product failures. The cost of these uncertainties amounts to billions of dollars annually. SmartUQ's mission is decreasing uncertainty in engineering workflows via artificial intelligence and machine learning tools which guide engineering focus to relevant design and process attributes. Our product is a powerful and easy-to-use tool that allows scientists and engineers to develop safer, more reliable products faster and to optimize manufacturing processes. Our tools help identify and focus corrective actions on those attributes most responsible for uncertainty in the results. As can be seen from a selection of our customer testimonials, some of SmartUQ's strengths, some of the strengths of the software, are in machine learning model predictive accuracy as well as training speed, but with a particular focus on an ability to handle larger scale problems. SmartUQ helps our customers save millions of dollars and thousands of hours of work annually. The SmartUQ team is led by our CEO and Chief Scientist, Peter Chen, and in total, we are 11 members. We have a number of well-respected advisors from a variety of different industries as well that assist us. In terms of the story of SmartUQ, originally, we were created to address problems in the aerospace industry that had scale and complexity associated with them that no existing tool could handle. Now, since that time, SmartUQ has been further developed, it's been expanded, it's been equipped to address challenging problems in a variety of different industries as well. And this is reflected in our customer list where you can see, again, we have customers through a wide variety of industries, no longer simply aerospace. A typical workflow executed in SmartUQ would be as follows. So data is going to be collected. SmartUQ can either guide that data collection process or it can recommend which data to use. Once we have the data, SmartUQ is used to train a predictive machine learning model. One of the strengths of that predictive model is going to be the speed at which it makes predictions, and that's going to be able to power analyses in the third step there. So that might include things like sensitivity analysis, uncertainty propagation, and stochastic optimization. Whatever analyses we run, though, in the final step there, we're going to take the results from those analyses. We're going to use those to take actions which are going to have time and cost savings benefits. So that might be improvement in quality, a reduction in scrap, improved product and manufacturing performance. So SmartUQ is also very easy to learn and it's very easy to use. So we have a graphical interface, a GUI version. It doesn't require any sort of programming knowledge. It's very easy for scientists and engineers to pick up. It doesn't require a massive amount of background knowledge or training in statistics or machine learning in order to use. For more advanced or more experienced users, however, though, it's also very easy to deploy and integrate with other tools because we do offer a programmable Python API, which allows all the Smart UQ functionality to be implemented in Python code. To purchase Smart UQ, that's very easy as well. It's either directly through Smart UQ or it's actually available from Hexagon. So customers that are members of Hexagon's MSC1 XT token program are going to have access already to download, install Smart UQ, and get started very easily, matter of minutes. So for our demo and preparing for today, we wanted to focus on the additive manufacturing industry. And the reason we made that choice is that it's a rapidly growing industry. It's approaching $35 billion a year annually. But at the same time, additive manufacturing is still a newer field. It's a newer manufacturing field. It still faces a number of challenges without established solutions to them. So we felt that there's an opportunity there to capture a large portion of this market by solving some of these problems, addressing some of these challenges, and becoming the established solution. The demo that we've been working on in conjunction with Hexagon, a lot of great support over the last few weeks, was a decision-making tool for enhancing the quality of additive manufactured parts. It's powered, of course, by Smart UQ's machine learning predictive models, but trained using data from Hexagon simulation tools like Mark, Digimat, and Material Center. So in terms of the impact of such a solution, if we consider a typical additive manufactured part, it might cost on the order of $1,000. If we're at a 96% quality level, that's 40,000 ppm of scrap or $40 million in scrap. By improving that quality to 99.9%, we're going to achieve $39 million in savings per million parts. So lastly, to conclude here, what would we like to get out of the demo day? Well, we'd like to further develop this additive manufacturing demo into a pilot commercial tool offering. This would require a license of Smart UQ. We'd like Hexagon to be able to sell those directly to their customers, both with our additive manufacturing solution or without, and this solution could further be scaled to additional manufacturing processes and tools. Thank you for your time.
Gavin, well done. Well done indeed. Get all your points over?
I had one bullet point. I was very close.
Might have to save that for your questioners. Now, we're going to go to Ben and Mark for questions. Ben, let's start with you.
Thank you. I enjoyed your pitch. One very specific question. You used additive manufacturing as a kind of example, thinking you can go from 40K per ppm scrap to 1K. What evidence do you have that you can achieve that?
So, we've done similar things with existing customers. So in the aerospace industry, we do some sort of as-built part performance prediction that's been using scan data that they work on. And that helps reduce their scrap. So we've done it with other customers. I think the idea is that with the machine learning model approach, we could achieve these things by running Hexagon simulations directly, but the volume of simulations needed to take sort of a stochastic approach to the problem is the roadblock. So that's where the machine learning model piece comes into play.
Mark, a question to take us into the break.
Okay, that's very good, Gavin. Interested who your key competition is and why you would succeed over your competitors?
Yeah, so there's some competitors out there. There's some open source tools. We have unique technology and sort of better capabilities in terms of predictive speed and or training speed of the models, which can become a significant roadblock, and predictive accuracy. Some of the commercial tools from companies like SAS are frankly fairly not that user-friendly. A lot of the great feedback we get from our customers has to do with that our tools are very easy to use, that in such and such piece of software, it takes me 20 clicks to find this option. In Smart UQ, it's one click in a menu and find it very easily. So I think there's two big pieces. It's sort of that the models themselves are superior in terms of like their accuracy and training speed, and then also that the tool is very user-friendly, and customers seem to appreciate that.
Gavin, you've got 50 seconds left. What was the point you were going to tell us? Use your time.
What was the point?
The point you didn't make on the presentation.
So the final point I didn't make on the presentation, it was having to do with, we could scale up this approach, this tool to include different additive manufacturing or processes other than additive manufacturing, also different data sources. So the process itself is sort of data agnostic. It's math, it's statistical modeling. It doesn't necessarily have to be that it's, data from a simulation of additive manufacturing. It could be from a different manufacturing process or totally different source of data entirely. So we think we can scale that up and then sort of achieve like a large portion, I think, 1 or 2% between us and Hexagon of that $200 billion manufacturing intelligence market.
Out of time. Well done. Gavin, that's what you feel. Right, there you have it. Now, what a super set of businesses we've already heard from our first two pitches. It reminds me of that old line from Highlander. There can be only one. Well, we're going to find out as we hear from 5 further businesses after the break. But we're going to go into a short break now. We're going to be back at 5 past the hour for those of you that are watching online. And for our guests here in London, we're going to have a quick coffee break. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Welcome back. You're joining us live here at Tobacco Docks, and I think, as we will have seen from those first 2 pictures, the smoke is going up the chimney, isn't it, in terms of the messages that we're hearing, the fire that we're hearing from our brilliant startup businesses. We've heard from the first 2. Now we're going to hear from the next 3. Really, really tough job for our advisory panel, I think, in terms of actually sort of creating that sense of who do they back for that next phase? Well, to tell us more about their business, it's a great pleasure to welcome a business from Brazil, iFlow AI, which creates a no-code software as a service platform to enable anyone to build computer vision applications with artificial intelligence in a simple way. To tell us more, welcome Alex from iFlow AI. Well done.
Hi, my name is Alex Sobral. I'm the founder of iFlow, a complete video analytics platform that was built to empower and support the manufacturing industry. Many tasks in manufacturing industry, such as visual monitoring and visual inspection, depend on people to be performed. And today, they are very repetitive tasks with low complexity and low technology. Imagine the opportunity we have if we could automate these tasks. I'm going to tell you, at the past, it was not possible to automate these tasks, but with the emergence of artificial intelligence and deep learning, we can now automate this kind of tasks. People aren't meant to be doing repetitive tasks. This leads to several problems, such as high failure rate, high process time, scraps, and high costs. We believe that we have a huge opportunity because with automation, we can result in gains in productivity, increase the efficiency, reduce the waste, and reduction of costs. However, automating such tasks with computer vision deep learning is very complex and time-consuming. And hiring AI engineers is very difficult. So we create the iFlow. The main idea behind the iFlow is that with deep learning, we can programming a machine to do a task, showing it examples. You show the input and the output, and the machine learn that. So we combine this idea with the no-code idea and build a complete, easy-to-use, easy-to-learn platform where anyone without background in programming can easily and quickly build a solution for the problem. We have major applications today running in large industries like Volkswagen in final inspection, Yazaki out inspecting electrical harness. They want to put in all plants in South America today. And right now, one project with Hexagon at VinFast in Vietnam do full inspection of the vehicles. Our main competitor is do nothing, but we know that human inspection leads to failures. We also have the traditional machine vision companies that's very hardware-oriented and outdated software technology, and some startups emerging, but they are very immature compared to us. We were pioneers in our technology, and our technology is mature. We deliver results faster, and our vision is far more complete. I'm the founder. That is my 5th company that I found, but the first one that I'm going to the global market. My partners are experienced executives with white hair. No Jones has no hair. And we have a great team of bright talents. Our business model is based on a cloud platform for development of the applications and selling through partners. And so we are building a partnership network as Hexagon, which are bringing our technology along to the customer and your products and services. If we consider the market for the 3 applications that we have today, general inspection, metal stamping, and automotive, we have a big growth projection. But with 6sense support, we can expand into several new markets and segments, such as aerospace, pharmaceutical, and energy. And thus, the number, the McKinsey project for this vision market is huge. There is a lot of synergy between iFlow and Hexagon. Hexagon has a strong presence in the manufacturing industry, but most of Hexagon products are for high precision and simulation. It does not fit the requirements for inline operation. So iFlow offers a perfect fit and complementary fit for Hexagon products and help Hexagon to deliver the complete solution for smart manufacturing, going from metrology to effectively manufacturing intelligence. Here presents a different customer's case. Okay, this is metal stamping case, inline inspection of vehicles, a lot of it is in the underbody. We do this surface inspection, identifying a lot of problems at the painting. And this is the case from Volkswagen, where we are inspecting all vehicles at the end of line and doing interfaces for operators and for management. Today, we are delivering our products, like strategic products, and packaging to get easy deploy at the market, and consolidate our technology and strengthen our partnership network to go to a global market, and are raising funds to support us in this journey. Thank you very much.
Alex, well done. Now we're going to go straight to Drew and Elaine for questions. Drew, kick us off.
I really liked your presentation. First question is, you talked about one of your key differentiators being the ease of implementation of the product, and I just wanted to understand how much customization is required for each individual customer.
each customer demands a lot of customization because it has specific products. But we built this no-code platform where anyone can develop new components. So we can customize one project for one specific customer very easily because we built this extensible platform where we can easily create a component in Python, put it in the platform to send, for example, the detection to our database, and so integrate with the customer mess, for example. And also, we are packaging some applications as ready-made and easy to deploy and easy to install. We got the partners to install and deploy this at the customers.
Okay, thanks.
Elaine.
Yes, again, thank you very much for your presentation. It's really clear, and also I really enjoyed your YouTube video as well. Going on to, I noticed that in the competitors' side, there are startups, about 3 startups you mentioned. What is proprietary about your technology so others can't come in and develop the same software? Have you actually protected your sort of intellectual property?
No, because for this artificial intelligence, everything is shared, every model and neural networks and that. But we have developed a lot of specific and specialized neural networks, and we evolve very fast. And we are doing this a lot of years. We are very experts in developing neural networks. So we are fast and going ahead. I don't believe that this can be protected, the intellectual property. Sorry.
Protected, yes.
Thank you.
Tell us, Alex, we talked a little bit about the art of being remarkable. We've got 50 seconds left. If you were to talk about your business in terms of what makes it remarkable, what makes it a winner this afternoon, your last answer on behalf of iFlow AI.
We are very experienced developers and in technology. I'm doing this for the last 3 to 5 years. I'm not so old, but I started very young. And we built one complete at the cloud, Dockerized, a lot of jargon, sorry, to be totally expandable, forgot the word, but expandable multi-cloud in Kubernetes and a lot of things that can be in everywhere very easily and very, very robust.
Like your football team, back of the net. Thank you very much, Alex. Well done. Thank you. Now we move on to our second pitch of this section. Now, you know what they say about with the entrepreneur is that your name is above the door, so care about it. Now, my next guest, when I was going through the dress rehearsal, said, "You're not pronouncing it right." So I hope that when I pronounce Premo, that I am actually getting it absolutely right. And thank you for the correction, Paul. So Premo was launched in Canada in 2017 and has developed a proprietary digital artificial intelligence and machine learning predictive technology called Razor. It's focused on maximizing industrial equipment efficiency and productivity. It's a great pleasure to welcome you, Paul, to the stage. Your pitch begins. Thank you very much.
My name is Paul Boris. I'm the president and COO of Premo. We help manufacturing companies deliver the next level of productivity. And in fact, we work with companies like Hexagon to help them deliver on the promise of the industrial internet. There's not a company in our space that has our level of manufacturing experience. I've got 40 years in manufacturing, running plants. I was the CIO of advanced manufacturing strategy for GE. Our founders come from asset-intensive environments. Our CTO has a PhD in automotive engineering and analytics, and our engineering team has deep supply chain experience. Back in 2012, GE coined the term of the industrial internet. They expected to see $10 to $15 trillion in benefit to global GDP because they knew for the 25 years prior, companies had been connecting to systems and machines and data, harvesting this value and creating significant improvements in productivity. But the last decade has been abysmal. We've hit a productivity plateau, and in North America alone, companies are bleeding $150 billion in productivity. This completely stands in the way of their ESG goals. So if you look to the left, you see what typical manufacturing looks like. Everyone's talked about the complexity, the data, the systems, the applications, all of the things that are going on. So it made perfect sense at the enterprise to create a large data science team, create a centralized model where all this data gets vacuumed up, and apply machine learning. The reality is that creates bias from the very first step, and the vast majority of these projects don't succeed. So the manufacturing people throw their hands up and they do what they do. They build things. They built a model for material, machines, motor vibration. They built a model for the vision system. They take the images. Well, actually, I need to build another one because there's an acoustic model with this particular part. Well, I want to run it to another plant. I've got to build different models because the machines and the data are different. This is completely unsustainable and draws incredible resources off the manufacturing teams that are already strained. And companies have been going through disruption for years. They see the worst part yet to come. They need to grind more value out of the investments they've already made in their manufacturing enterprise. We saw this trend years ago. We developed a product called Razor. It's the first machine learning-enabled continuous improvement tool. This is about accelerating continuous improvement in operations by taking advantage of this data. This is really important, though. We've built the tooling to automate the data science. So the temperature profile that comes from a blow molder, the image from a quality system, and the ticket from a maintenance management system are not prepared at all by the teams at the plant. We take the lowest level data, we apply our tooling to it, we run it through our models, and we feed back information that gives them insights in the amount of time they need to actually impact the process. So what does this look like? I'm actually running Power BI on my iPad. If you don't know what that is, this would look like a typical dashboard in a manufacturing plant. I'll look at some machine metrics. They're alarming. I've got yellows and reds. The reality is machine number 3 is doing something it shouldn't be doing that no human or system is going to detect other than applying machine learning. That small I gives me this insight. It allows me to drill back in. So in the context of Hexagon, Hexagon MI, or this could be SAP or PTC or Rockwell, we leverage all of those systems already in place, and we have the ability to drill through this data. We might be looking at machine performance. We might actually have a quality example. I'm going to give an example here in a minute where we look at press fit curves, and the technician at the line can launch a one-click quality notification because they've got these systems already in place, and this is very directed at the target that they need to perform on. How does this look in front of a line leader, a manufacturing manager, an operator, someone named Susan who's running a very complex piece of equipment with a lot of data, great discipline, great deployment, more metrology, more data. Those parts get sent downstream into another process where they get forced together, more data, more discipline. The human has been unable to detect the slightest variation in the performance across that value stream. Razor was put in place and was able to flag 4 weeks in advance of the customer inadvertently shipping discrepant quality to the customer. This is millions of dollars in ROI in a single instance. We fit right into the Hexagon manufacturing infrastructure, the data that's collected in metrology, the data that's collected in production solutions. Those systems may or may not talk to each other. It doesn't matter to us. That's all resolved by Razor. So here's a customer example. Linamar is a large company delivering incredible quality to their customers. They knew they did a really good job on collecting the data. They knew they were not capable of analyzing it in the time domain they needed. Humans are not built to do this. They did an evaluation. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, the large players, we beat them all. They selected us as the global tool for industrial machine learning to be deployed across their fleet of assets and manufacturing. They've got a significant relationship with Hexagon already. And the reality is that this is an urgent board-level initiative because of all those issues that I talked about earlier. As you move into electric vehicles, EVs, these requirements only become more strict, more stringent as the quality demand goes further up. So here we are, back to where we started. We're creating and delivering on the promise of the industrial internet. We're entering our next round of funding, and when you think of connecting us with Hexagon and their market presence, we bring differentiation to new opportunities, new value to existing ones, and immediate revenue. Thank you
very much. Thank you. That's Paul proving that every second counts. Thank you very much for that, Premo. I think that's given the Premo story there has given our advisory panel something to think about, I'm sure. And Milan and Mark are going to ask you a question here, Paul. So Milan, we're going to go to you first.
Sure. I love it on the dot, the fact that you're finished, right?
I'm a manufacturing efficiency guy. That's sorry.
Knowing what, obviously we don't see the under the hood.
Sure.
I'm going to steal a continuous question from Elaine from a couple other presentations, which is, what makes you unique and not copyable, and how can we not see somebody come in and essentially just do what you do, but in a different ways or in different segments?
So look, I'll argue I could give the whole playbook to somebody, and they can't put the tools together in the way to deliver. So we don't patent our technology because we don't want to expose methods and proprietary methods. But it's that in combination with this deep manufacturing understanding. We walk into operations, we know exactly what they're dealing with and how to deliver. And we also know that if they can't see value almost instantly, in some cases it could be days, in other cases it may be a little longer, they're not going to be able to start the flywheel spinning and move these projects along. I did digital transformation at GE. I know how to herd cats. This is what we've applied not just to the technology, but the process and working with these manufacturers. This Linamar process was great. Awesome people. I mean, we beat Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. So, let's just leave that there.
I think Razor's a better name than herding cats. Mark, go for it. That's
a great pitch, Paul.
Thank you.
Just really following on, how complex is it to embed your product into a business, given you're touching across lots of different products, machines, functions?
So I've got years at SAP. I've got years at GE. What I understand is that's the complexity is the death of the opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Technical debt kills these processes. Our little UI looks like a Twitter feed. Right? They don't necessarily use ours except to get things started. They're going to embed it in the tools and technology they have, so the customer can do that. Or maybe they're running the Microsoft Power BI tools, or maybe they're running Hexagon MI or SAP or PT. It doesn't matter to us because it's API driven. We get the data, we run our process, we send an answer back, and it pops up in that screen. If they need our little Twitter feed UI, it's there. If they've got something already, it just feeds in from the back. They don't know the difference.
You've got 45 seconds. Tweet-like answer then. Why should Premo win this afternoon?
We are doing something different. Who has talked to you about the productivity plateau? Who has even seen this catastrophic situation in manufacturing? This is what we live day in and day out. This is what we talk about when we're having a beer. We understand how to impact these processes, and we've got a great team that delivers around the technology, the AI, and delivers value very quickly for customers. So if you want to move the marketplace and you want to get these people aligned and moving forward and address the next pandemic that's coming and hyper manufacturing, we're going to be at the center of this.
Boom. That's the story of Premo. Paul, congratulations. Well done. I'm telling you, I could feel the laser intensity of Paul there in terms of that will to actually get that message home. Congratulations. Great pitch. Right, we're going to move on to our final pitch before the main coffee break today. So we're going to hear from a fantastic business, Smart Parts. It's a materials-based platform from the US which connects manufacturing data to additive manufacturing parts. To tell us more, please do welcome Cody. Well done.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cody Burke. I'm the COO and co-founder at Smart Parts, where we're securing supply chains with embedded traceability. Global supply chains right now are under intense pressure from macro events. This is manifesting in a bunch of different ways. You're seeing the rise of counterfeiting, increased need for traceability requirements, and also the need to monitor supply chains for ESG impacts. And this is truly shocking stuff. We realize that 8% of medical devices are estimated to be counterfeit that are in circulation right now. And even more concerning is over 500,000 parts, counterfeit parts, are placed onto airplanes each year. That ruined my flight over. Sorry if it does the same to you, but that's where we're at. So I want you to look at these two parts. One of these is made in a certified material, one is not. Is there any way to tell the difference? I've been in additive for over 12 years, and I guarantee you that nobody can tell the difference between these two parts. With our solution, it's possible to verify the authenticity of the materials and the parts with a simple scan. So smart parts physically connects digital assets to physical parts to ensure end-to-end traceability. It's an integrated solution made up of intelligent material taggants that we're able to program with the unique identifiers and embed in the materials and the parts. We interact with those programmable taggants, those unique IDs, with handheld scanning hardware that then references that data, those unique IDs, against a digital platform to retrieve manufacturing data. We empower organizations to fight counterfeiting, easily add embedded lot and batch traceability to their materials, prove source of origin for ESG and ITAR reporting compliance, and coming soon, serialize individual parts. We engage with customers by developing custom intelligent material taggants based on their unique materials and applications. We can leverage a variety of scanning on sensor options, and we can integrate the technology to existing ERP, MES solutions to take all that digital data that's already being collected and tie it directly to the physical asset. We have a simple pricing model involving licenses and SaaS. Our initial focus is the fast-growing additive manufacturing market. It's been growing very rapidly, over 20% growth on average over the past 4 years. Based on some conservative estimates for penetration and our current pipeline of customers, we believe we have a near-term opportunity of over $10 million right out of the gate. We can grow that, I believe, fairly rapidly as we increase our penetration with these companies and the overall additive market grows. Next, we intend to focus on high-value applications across manufacturing in aerospace, automotive, medical device, and defense. I want to talk a little bit about one of the customers that we're currently in technology testing with. They're a major auto supplier. They make custom thermoplastics for the auto industry. They have two problems. One is internal quality controls around their material in their facility. The second is they have customers coming to them, the major auto OEMs, asking for anti-counterfeiting technology in the materials to prevent counterfeiting in the aftermarket. So we're working with this customer to provide them embedded traceability for their materials so they can reduce liability, reduce their scrap rate, and provide a really high-value product for their customers, the auto OEMs. Their head of R&D put it the best. He says that they're seeing a growing need from the market for this kind of solution, and our technology is helping them meet those requirements. A core part of our strategy is integration. We see a whole bunch of different ways that we can integrate with Hexagon to take all of that excellent digital twin and simulation data and tie that directly to a physical asset. We are material and process agnostic. We're starting with additive, but our technology and approach is applicable to any manufacturing material and process. So let's see how it works in practice. Let's say we want to validate a material. We can take that material, we can scan it with a handheld scanner. All of the information associated with that material is going to pull up in our interface. Let's say we want more information. Samir can click through to Materials Center, where he can see the pedigree of that material from a certain point in time. That's great. Let's say he wants some part-level information. Remember, once we embed our technology in a material, that material and any part made with it is scannable for its entire life cycle from compounding to end of life. Samir scans the part, pulls up the part information. Again, he's able to click to Materials Center, call up the information associated with that part at a different place in the pedigree. We've worked with the Hexagon team for the past few months, specifically Materials Center, and recently the team at Sim Manager. We've identified multiple opportunities of existing Hexagon customers that would benefit from the kind of end-to-end traceability that we can provide. Fundamentally, we also believe that Smart Parts and Hexagon share a lot of the same customers, and we think many of the customers that are in our funnel for the Smart Parts solution will be prime candidates for upsell and cross-sell opportunities with Hexagon solutions. Hunter McDonald, he's a consultant with Hexagon with Materials Center, and we've worked with him extensively, said that our technology would add a significant competitive differentiator in the market and allow them to meet pain points for many of their customers. There's two aspects to our business model: licensing and SaaS revenue. Our business scales as we issue additional unique IDs to customers for their materials and as more scannable smart parts and materials enter the market. We have an experienced team, experts in additive and traditional manufacturing. We're supported by advisors who are experts in material science. Our product development is assisted by the fine folks at OctoPD. Smart Parts embeds traceability to link digital manufacturing data to physical assets. Now at this point, you're probably all asking yourself the same question. How can I help? I'm glad you asked. We're currently seeking funding, so we're interested in opportunities to raise capital to help us scale our solution and get our product to market even faster. For the Hexagon folks, we would love a targeted investment to help us bring this demonstration to life and bring it to market. Thank you very much.
Well done, Katie. Well, if the first rule of business is tell them what you want, I don't think there's any ambiguity there in terms of the smart parts asked this afternoon. We're going to go to Ben and Drew for the Q&A. Ben, do kick us off.
Really interesting presentation, thank you. I've worked myself in additive for 15 years in aerospace, energy, all over the place. Really interesting technology. If I understood rightly, there's a technology that you have that's embedded into the material which you can then pick up and, yeah. So is there any downside to the presence of your technology in the parts that you're then able to trace?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's a question we get almost right out of the gate when we talk to OEMs and material companies, specifically folks in the aerospace and the high requirement industries. And the answer is that we're embedding these particles at like a parts per million level. So very, very low concentrations are needed to pick up a signal off the scanners. So we're below the concentration level for most materials that we've experimented, or sorry, the contamination level rather, for most of the materials we've experimented with. The other point I would make, and this is a critical aspect of the solution, is that the most elegant way for our solution to work is if we get into the materials at the compounding level, because that provides full end-to-end traceability. But we can also apply the same particles in a post-processing stage. So a coating, a dip, a spray, a dye. So we have various ways to enter in a situation in aerospace, for example, where you can't have any contaminants in the actual base material.
Super. Drew.
What competition is out there for sort of assessing material provenance at the moment?
Yeah, so the way we think about competition is in a few buckets. There's the existing solutions, and these are barcodes, RFID, serial numbers, laser etching. Those are good solutions and they serve a purpose, but they only take effect when they're applied. So they don't, again, it's not full end-to-end traceability from the material level all the way to the end of life. They can also, many of those can be spoofed, many of them can be counterfeited, whereas our solution is embedded. The other sort of bucket of competition that we look at is sort of what we call next generation technologies. That includes other taggant technologies, which tend not to be as customizable or robust as our technology. And then there's some very sort of new ways of doing traceability. There's some interesting companies working on like microbial tags that they use for mostly for food, bizarrely enough, so vegetables, so like bananas, eggplants, things like that.
I met all of the businesses here 70 days or so ago. Everybody's got so much better so quickly. How has your business got better in the Sixth Sense process? What are you going to take out of actually having gone through that experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think our message and our strategy has been refined working with folks like Hexagon because they have such a broad reach and so many interesting customers. And frankly, the team at Hexagon has been so generous with their time that's helped us a lot to have some interesting mentors and folks who have experience in broader aspects of manufacturing that we might have internally.
Thank you, Cody. Thanks for sharing the Smart Parts story with us. Congratulations. Well done. Cheers. Welcome back to the Sixth Sense Demo Day, live in London. If you're joining us online, welcome back. And we are down to our final 2 pitches. We've heard 5 of our 7, and haven't they been absolutely fantastic? I think, you know what, I think here in London, we'd like to show our appreciation for what we've heard so far. So a big round of applause for what we've heard. Oh, yes. I mean, I was thinking about this, is that today has been like a mini MBA, hasn't it? You know, we've heard from an incredible advisory panel give their thoughts and ideas about what it takes to break through in business. We've heard the journeys of these incredible businesses that have been on this 70 days of change and growth and realizing potential. Oh, just a joy to actually sort of introduce business after business. Now, we have 2 further pitches left for this afternoon. Smart PM is a Spanish engineering firm based in Barcelona, founded in 2019, and its vision is to become a worldwide partner for automated manufacturing processes. Jose, I've met you before. I'm looking forward to hearing your story. Welcome to tell the story of Smart PM. Congratulations.
So, thank you, Michael, for the kind introduction. I would like to start my pitch launching a question to the audience. How can a company like Hexagon MI reach its brand promise? We're talking about manufacturing intelligence. At the Smart PM, we believe that working together, we cannot just reach it, but becoming the leaders in the market in the near future. Smart PM was created 3 years ago as part of a Gilly Group. Gilly Group is a well-renowned manufacturing supplier of big OEMs like Safran, like Rolls-Royce, or institutions like CERN. Our mission statement is enabling manufacturing, autonomous manufacturing. This is based on 2 key pillars, very much linked to Gilly. First one is that we have created our solution, we will talk about that later, based on process know-how. More than 40 years of experience in the field of manufacturing. And secondly, we are a company that was created from the need. Gilly manufacturing needs were clear in terms of flexibility, in terms of increasing productivity, in terms of enhancing asset utilization. So those are the guidelines that have placed our solution in the market currently. We want to become the key partner for companies in terms of automation. How do we do that? Using our manufacturing intelligence core platform. This is a software platform aiming to orchestrate self-optimizing manufacturing lines, aiming to help those to become more productive, more quality-oriented, and also more, expanding the possibilities of usage of the existing assets. At the end, having a positive impact in productivity and profitability. We see ourselves as the shop floor nerve system. We are having sensors gathering data, we are having connectors communicating that data, and we have a brain. This is about generating insights, taking decisions, and moreover, executing them. And this is what differentiates us most from others. Besides, we have delivered our platform based on 4 key premises. Make it easy, plug and play, easy to use. Make it scalable, modular, and also embedding our knowledge-based, our manufacturing knowledge, as well as artificial intelligence. Last but not least, we believe that based on our approach to the market, licensing business model is the key approach to it. At the end, we are creating a new product category. We are not an MES solution, manufacturing execution system. We are not an asset management tool. We are not a classic PLC SCADA-based automation solution. We are enhancing integrating robots. We are enhancing integrating artificial intelligence modules. But we go beyond that, and we are not integrators. Let me show you one example about the project we delivered recently. They were facing a challenge in terms of increasing the productivity, increasing the utilization of the assets, and reducing the amount of labor needed for the process, improving the autonomy. Let me share with you one video showing how it worked, and then we will talk about the impact generated. As we say at Smart PM, never mind if we deliver a super fancy, awesome solution in the customer unless we have a real impact. In this case, we achieved 4 different very relevant milestones at the end. First, we reduced by 80% the labor needed for the process. We increased by 50% the asset utilization in the manufacturing line. And we also improved lead times and defective parts percentage. So at the end, we were able to impact the customer in 4 key different drivers, and at the same time, releasing all of those with a 1-year payback. Apart from talking about our MIG solution, I would also like to talk about the Smart PM. We are a pretty young company, but pretty agile, and during the last 8 weeks, we have achieved 5 different milestones that have been critical for us. First of all, we have been able to integrate QDA's IMC solution within our platform, running real tests in our factory lab. Besides, we have been able to launch a new MIG package for early adopters of our solution. At the same time, we will be launching in 2 weeks' time in the International Machine Tool Exhibition in Bilbao, 5 different cells, all of them different processes, different machines run with our MIG platform. I have to say that 4 of those have embedded inspection machines from Hexagon. We have also been able, during the last 4 weeks, to reach 15 letters of intent, committing for more than 10 million euros for the next months. At the end, coming back to the beginning, we see Hexagon willing to become a manufacturing intelligence leader, to do it fast, to rely on one Hexagon MI architecture organization, and to keep that 30% margin on EBIT. We have the platform, we have the team, we have the process knowledge to achieve it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jose. I mean, congratulations, a full multimedia experience there, no less. Right, we're going to hand over to Elaine and Milan for your questions. Elaine, over to you.
Thank you very much. Really enjoyed your presentation. I'm going to go back again to the competitors' side and who your competitors are. I believe there's Fastem, Zeroa, Promot. And what differentiates yourself from these other people as well that will make Hexagon and others buy your product?
Okay, I'm very happy to hear about that question. So one of the key differentiators we have is our origin. So we have more than 40 years track record knowledge about manufacturing. The way we are approaching customers is demanding this kind of knowledge to help them to mature these processes. We cannot face automation unless we reach robust processes, and that's why we are helping them towards that direction. Besides, the technical architecture we have used has more to do with a banking telephone application than with that PLC SCADA-based solution. Moreover, as some of our cohort colleagues were saying, our approach in terms of microservices, Dockers, all this stuff, and open frame solution allows us to be much more flexible than the classic from Zeroa, from Fastems, or from Promot. And this is what we believe that will make the difference in the market. Thank you.
Good answer. Milan.
My turn. I think 2 small questions. One is, I think we missed on the team slide. So like you can maybe tell us who is the part of the team.
Sure.
And then on the second one is, and it's kind of following Elaine's question, which is, what is, like, if you pick one thing, what's the one thing that makes Smart PM special?
Okay. Starting from, with the first one. We have right now 16 people on board. Our product manager has more than 25 years experience in the field of industrial design or CAM solutions and automation. Our CTO, she has been dealing in the field of software products, software platform developments as well for the last 25 years. And myself, I've been launching new companies for the last 15 years. So besides, we are coupled with a strong team from Egile as well. Corporate financing that help us to keep focus on our product development and our business development. That would be first question. Second question. I would say that becoming remarkable, as Michael was saying before, we are the unique solution presented today that can work with all the other ones, integrating them, acting as a catalyst for guiding them into a real process improvement. So we are open to integrate solutions from Smart IQ, from Icon Pro, from iFlow, that could add more power to our brain and to provide more value to the customer.
Using every single second. Jose, congratulations. Thanks for sharing the story of Smart PM. Well done. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to be a member of the advisory panel this afternoon. I mean, advise on that. That's what I'd say. Right, we're going to move on to our final pitch of this afternoon. Now, what awaits us? Because I think this is the never easy to go last, but I know it's a great story. Rico, founded just last year by 3 graduates from Aachen University, now provides interactive 3D models for asset planning and simulation. It's a brilliant story. Jan, welcome to London. Come and tell us. Introduce Rico. Thank you and welcome.
Hi everybody, my name is Jan. I'm one of the co-founders of Rico, and at Rico, we bring factory models to life and enable factory transformation for all stakeholders. So if you think about factory change, you might think of a shiny 3D model that is available at all times for anybody. But I need to disappoint you. Unfortunately, the truth looks like this. 2D model, inaccurate, last 10 years, never updated. And when we go to client workshops and sell our product, we're sitting there 8 hours with 10 engineers looking on this, and everyone brings in their own idea from logistics to manufacturing, trying to solve all the big challenges of manufacturing today. Imagine you are Volkswagen and you need to change to battery cars based on this. Imagine that you can have so many improvements, but they don't go through because by the time you can get the investment in from someone, it's already outdated again. So we were so frustrated by this that we made a solution. We talked to people in the manufacturing automotive industry, and we found out 80% of improvements are already there. You have those dedicated people that have been working for sometimes even more decades in the factory space. They know their stuff. They know what they want to change. They just can't bring it to life. It's nothing they can use, and legacy 3D tools kind of require your PhD to use them, so they're not willing to learn. Manufacturing engineers spend 25% of their time just maintaining and updating data. And if you think about 3D data and how it's redrawn hand by hand by hand, spending resources on just things, doing things over and over again, that is just unsustainable. So we built a solution to that. We utilized laser scanning, so we generate a 3D model just by walking through the facility with a scanner. And then we upload this data to our magical 3D AI, which I'm going to comment later. But most important is you can then access this 3D model we generate on any business laptop via simple mouse click and login. Let me show you how this works. This is a 3D model which is as realistic as the scanning devices. You can now import any 3D model, 2D spaghetti lines from logistic, old 2D plans, and do scenario modeling for the flexible factories that you need today, right? Do a model for when the supply chain breaks down, do a model for implementing new IoT devices, and with one link, you can share this to anybody who has access to this data, so they can directly see what you plan on your factory transformation. This helps building better, more efficient factories, but it also helps to make them more sustainable. Just add some emission numbers or energy consumptions to this model, build a dashboard next to it, and show it to everybody who has access to this. The USP here is really this AI, which is relying on this 3D data. And with our geometric detection, we can detect thousands of assets in the factory floor by just simply doing a scan. We then mesh these models, create surface models, so you can also use them in simulation programs for material flow simulation. You can use them VR. You can use them to train your new autonomous guided vehicles. There is no limit to this accurate data. With Hexagon and Leica Geosystems, we are talking one of the leading manufacturers who develop tech like the Spot robot, which can now autonomously gather this data. And we are just on top of this, making this data useful for everybody. Our customers have already used around 120 million square meters of this data already available. So we said, let's go to Hexagon, let's do it. We went to Wetzlar, one of the most innovative factories at Hexagon, and we took 1 day to scan the asset because they have some really good goals, like improving the productivity. And with this scan, in less than 24 hours, we are able to generate fully interactive 3D model, which looks like this. This is empty now, but it also works on 100,000 square meters of factory plants of automotives. This data is now ready available for everyone, and we simulated how an AGV with Hexagon hardware would just casually drive by and put stuff on there. We also put some other models in there to make more use of this data. you can see that even this model coming here of the machinery, that's not a 3D model. That is just done by the scan and segmented by our AI. As Michael said, we started a year ago with 3 people I take a bullet for. I mean, Felix, Patrick, and I, we survived college together. Felix became a roommate, and we said, oh, if you can survive this, we can build a company together. Now we are 14 awesome people, and I love about our culture that everyone is so enthusiastic about this tech and is driving this business to the moon. This has always been our goal. We've been to Berkeley Skydeck, one of the leading technology accelerators in the US. We've become a top 50 technology by McKinsey, and we won a 600K Deep Tech Award by one of the largest investors in Germany. We are really lucky to be backed by some of the most amazing angels I can wish for. AI research from Stanford, factory lead engineer from Waymo and Tesla, someone who has done an exit in construction with a similar thing, who knows how the road to go, and early birds had chipped in a little ticket. Even better, we've been growing 40% month over month since our beta launch in the spring of this day, and with customers like Siemens, Volkswagen, Audi, we're really validating this product to bring it public next year, because we already have a pipeline of customers of a rich 1 million ARR in place just waiting for us to launch this stuff. So what's left but to become part of our journey? For customers, learn about what we do on the beta program. Investors, we are currently fundraising seed, so please talk to Felix and me. And Hexagon, let's make this visible for everybody. At Rico, we say, show, don't tell. We have the prototype with us. Come take a look. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Good. Good. Well done. Well done. I think you put your fellow competitors on notice there. That's a really excellent pitch to finish on. Mark and Ben, you're going to give us your final thoughts. Mark, a question from you.
Great pitch. Well done.
Thank you.
So laser scanning has been around for quite a number of years, and there's a lot of players, and it feels a really crowded space. So I'm just interested in how you're going to differentiate and be able to establish yourselves in that very busy space.
Great question. So we do not build the hardware ourselves. We are just relying on the software, and we are vendor independent. So we can work with Hexagon Scantech. We can even work with an iPad Pro, which nowadays has a LiDAR sensor. Because our customer also needs different scanners for different tasks. So everything we need is a 3D point cloud, 3D data, which is either generated by laser scanning or by photogrammetry. But the AI itself is something that we really execute and pioneer on that we have not seen in the market yet.
Right. Ben.
Wow, it was a great pitch. Well done. I don't know where to start. It's very powerful. I was talking earlier about industrial sustainability. One of the early opportunities there is visualizing wastes, and I think there's a lot of potential in what you're doing for visualizing wastes. Could you comment on that, and maybe could you point your scanner at the bins and see what's in them?
So what I think is really important when you think about the sustainability topic in factories is, if it's so difficult to implement a new robot in your manufacturing, who's going to push towards this more net zero factory? People are already too busy with implementing the other stuff. So I think with this, we offer a realistic view for everyone to look at the factory and see what's going on there. And then it's not like, oh, we have 4 assets in Asia somewhere which are burning and having a lot of emissions. No, it's these 4 factories which I've segmented and I've put a dashboard on, and now we're tracing it, and these are the goals we've reached. So by combining and collaborating with everyone on one visual ground truth, we can set these goals and we can reach them. And I think with what we've done in the current POCs, we showed that this is possible.
Tweet-like answer. We've got a minute left. Why should Rico win this afternoon? Pitch it to all to our advisory panel.
I think we are here looking at an immense opportunity on what we can reach with this technology. We are focusing on manufacturing, but you can use it for oilrigs, you can use it for hospitals, you can use it for office space. There's no limit to what our AI can understand. Hexagon itself has 200,000 customers on the entire world. And all these customers could have a realistic 3D model of their asset tomorrow and run this, build the factories of the future. So if you are into manufacturing, if you're into building the factories of the future, I think you should go with us. Thank you.
Well done. Excellent job. Good job. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's our 7. Lucky 7. Let's hear a little bit later how their stories have impressed our advisory panel. Now, you know, I was thinking about this while they were speaking, is that how good they've all been. And do you remember there was a guy called Mark McCormack? And anybody remember him? He set up IMG Sports. He was the inspiration behind Jerry Maguire, that Tom Cruise man, show me the money. And he said something that I was thinking about as everyone was pitching. He said that all things being equal, people will buy from a friend. And all things being unequal, people will still buy from a friend. These have been brilliant businesses that I think fulfilled Milan's point about we want to invest in good people. I think all of these businesses have been good businesses run by great entrepreneurs and business leaders. And I think they deserve a very hearty round of applause. Well done. And I think if Mark's around for a drink afterwards, I'm sure you're going to be mobbed with people that want to sort of follow up on that. Because we're down to just the last few minutes. Now, our advisory panel are back. Yes, they are back. You missed an amazing talk, so watch the video. Well worth watching. Now, thank you also to everybody who's been watching digitally, online, and from around the world. You've been with us here in London for the day. I think you've had a great summary of global talent, global opportunity, global innovation. Now, we're going to hear from the head of Sixth Sense, Milan Kosic, who is also, I believe, going to be calling on Paul and Jan to say a couple of words on behalf of the Sixth Sense cohort, that inaugural cohort. But before they come up, it's my great pleasure to welcome you back on stage, Milan, to tell us what you've been talking about and to close us out. So big round of applause for Milan. Welcome back.
Hi, everybody. So we deliberated, we fought, I have some scratches here, but we'll actually announce in about 30 minutes as to the ranking and the who won and everything else. But we felt this is our first cohort. We haven't given you anything except pain, so we might as well give you something you can take home. So we have a few little plaques just for basically, it's like Americans, so everybody gets a participation star. So we're just gonna give you all a participation star. So I don't know, let's start with Cody, and then, we have to do, come on.
Come out. Holly, step forward.
We have to do this thing, right? So one of those things. Hold on. She's getting it. Gavin. There's a lot of fingerprints, but we gotta do the trick. All right. Thank you. Alex. Hold on. All right. Ball. All right. Martin. All right. Jan. Who's left? Oh, he's hiding. I don't like standing next to Jan because he's too tall.
Jose.
Hey, Jose, man. Hey, do the best. All right. That's it. Thank you, guys. The whole team thanks you. And, you had to drag you all the way here and you had to do a presentation. So spot on. And then I guess Michael will probably close it out and then we all go drink and do all the fun stuff.
Well, I think just before we do that,
yes.
I think that Paul and Jan spoke a little to us a bit earlier that they wanted just to come and say just a quick word on behalf of the pitching companies today. So we'll just hand over.
So we pinned the team down. Look, 6 minutes is really tough. Everybody hit the mark. Everybody was really well prepared. There was a lot of pain and anguish and torture that went over the last several weeks. And for the first cohort, it was awesome. So I just think we got call out Milan and Oliver and Zabita and Richard and the rest of the team from Seven Hills and April 6th. Everybody did a fantastic job from our perspective. Jan, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Absolutely. Honestly, when we applied for the program, we read at least 1 day per week. I was like, oh God, because for a startup, that is a lot of time in my week. But what Milan and all the people have really done is they made an impact on what we can build together. We are astonished by all the senior leadership of Hexagon who was talking to us. Arno, Steven, Michael, if you're out there, thank you so much for every opportunity you offered us. And of course, our mentors who, would answer mails on the weekend and who would be there for us. For the first time, you did an amazing job of this accelerator. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Well, listen, we are just about done, but of course, there's going to be another announcement at the drinks reception in terms of where our advisory panel got to. But can I just say to our advisory panel, you have been brilliant this afternoon. I think the questions have been first class. I think the involvement, I think your earlier panel as well, really did sort of set the tone for what has been an absolutely superb afternoon. We have 7 outstanding companies that are those future creators, those change makers. And I think that, it's been an absolute pleasure to hear your stories. And I think on behalf of all the audience, we wish you the very, very best in the future. But in the meantime, this has been the first ever 6 Sense cohort. I think that, that kind of initial group, that startup group, you may well have set an amazing path for companies that are going to follow in your wake onto this extraordinary incubation process, this accelerator process, which I think really does bode well for the sorts of innovations and positive can-do, sort of businesses that we're going to see in the manufacturing space in the years to come, being those forces for good that we heard Mark talk about so compellingly in his speech. In the meantime, thank you everyone for your time here today, and everyone that's listening, thank you for being with us here in London. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Thanks a lot. See you next time.